Anyways, I guess we're live.
You're supposed to let me know when you're pushing the button.
I pushed the button, Jen. What's going on, girl?
How are you?
Oh, you know me, excited, having fun.
That's what happens when we start talking. It's like we have a meeting and we have some ideas, and then we get on a call the next day, and you're like, and I kind of worked last night. And so it's like, crap. What
Yeah.
do we have going on today?
Cost of winning. Well, first, like I was up late and maybe a little earlier because Miss Lynn Randall's
Oh,
amazing.
yes. We have some stuff coming up.
Yes. So reciprocal propulsion in San Diego,
Yes.
May 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Yes.
What'd you think about the rooms that I sent
Whoa,
you?
oh my gosh. So I am super excited about one that it's in California, and I love San Diego. It's one of my favorite places to go. That's great. But the room that Lynn has found for us, it's like I don't even care what the house looks like. I know it's important because we have to have Wi-Fi and stuff, but like out on the back patio, the view is like, whoa, it's like picture.
Yes.
It's like freaking awesome. So I'm like super excited.
Oh, me too. So, folks, if you want to be there, I don't
Yes.
know, do a little rocket or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let us
do a
know.
rocket or spell rocket in the chat, and we'll hit you up with some information for that special
Yes.
retreat because it's going to be
California.
awesome.
This is the first
Look
time
at
we've
that.
been to California doing our weekend.
What's that?
It's our first California one that we've
Oh
been
yeah.
in
First,
the area.
actually, first one on the West Coast. Period.
Yes.
Oh, there's the West Coaster right there.
Woo-hoo!
Megan says,
Good morning, Megan.
morning. She's up early. Good morning, girl. Did you hear San Diego? Come on,
San
don't be
Diego.
scared. Mr. Jim Guntorius.
I got to hang out with him this week.
I know. Well, I'm gonna hang out with him too next month at the.
Well, I may crash that party too. You
Mm,
don't just get to come in town and then just act like you're just gonna hang out with my folks.
yep. Mr. Josh says, "Yo, what's
Good
up, Josh?"
morning.
Oh, here we go. The chief marketeer coming in for the win says, "Good
Yes.
morning from sunny Connecticut."
Yes.
And then, Bud, you know this guy?
I do. I got to hug Buddy multiple times this week. So he helped me with some home stuff, and then I got to go and hang out with him. So yes.
Man, we got a lot. Look, we got Demetria. What's up, Demetria? What's up?
Yes.
Let me get your coffee, girl. Come
Get
on.
it. Hey girl, this is your conversation today. So I need your input. I need you to add to this for sure.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. So don't we have some rules? So I guess some housekeeping stuff.
Oh,
right?
yes, housekeeping. Yes. And I'm seeing names. So like I need to say some things so that we can like bring them into the fold.
Yeah. So first, if you're on the LinkedIn, awesome. There's some funkiness that happens between LinkedIn and StreamYard and us being able to see what you're commenting. So if you are commenting and we're missing it, it's not because we don't love you. And YouTube, if you go watch the live stream on YouTube, we'll be able to see every comment that you put in there live. That being the case, at the end of the thing, we can see all the comments, but it's just kind of a weird thing that the tech stuff that's doing it. So bottom line, we love you. And you can watch us on LinkedIn, or you can see it on the YouTube, or you can see it on the Facebook, whatever. Thank you for gifting us with your time. We want to know where you're at, where you're coming from, especially if you're a lurker and you feel like, oh man, I gotta say hi.
Today's the day.
We don't know if you're there if you don't comment, and we love you anyways.
Yes.
And there's some stuff, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, and I'm already seeing some names that I haven't seen before. So I'm talking to you. If this is your first time joining us, that's great. If it's not your first time joining us, but it's your first time where you're going to let us know you're there. So you've maybe been in the background listening and you kind of want to just let us know you're there. You don't have to say a whole lot, but we do want to know. And so if it's your first time first time typing, if you will put a blue heart in the comment, you don't even have to say anything else. If you just want to put a blue heart, if you want to tell us where you're from, because that does a couple things. Number one, it lets us know that you are new and we want to absolutely acknowledge you. But two, all of these amazing people that are over here commenting and watching and have been on our show for a while will jump in and connect with you. They will let you know who we are. They will follow your stuff. They will, again, they will bring you into this tribe. So blue heart, if this is your first time joining us, so that we can acknowledge you, but also so our people can start connecting with you.
Truth. Stalk. I won't. If I do stalk, it'll be gentle stalking. We have some off, but we got Miss Rhiannon Gallagher.
Whoa, good morning.
Hello.
Yes.
And then we got Miss Ruth Stanley. I got to spend time on her podcast.
Oh, nice.
A week ago. Super awesome. We're talking about creativity, I think. Like creative space, creative mind.
I don't know anything about that, Jesse. I don't even know why she would bring you on for that.
I'm a creator. Thank you, Ruth. I had a really great time with her. And then we got Sarah with Boy Bass. Oh man, if y'all are on YouTube, you got to go like subscribe and follow the channel. Yes. And she says, look, she understood the assignment. She said, good morning, No BS Tribe. I'm ready for whining.
Let's just stay right there.
We're winning.
First of all, thank you, Steve Martin. You're amazing. You're the most amazing marketeer that we could have. And I appreciate you like pointing out that Jesse really wasn't clear on what we were even going to talk about.
No, I was clear in my head, just not in anyone else's head.
Yes, because Jesse, vocabulary and spelling are very, very not high on Jesse's priority list. Mm-hmm. Not that he can't spell and that he can't speak very well, but it is just not something that he puts a lot of time into. And it works well with our partnership because I have an English teacher background. And so, of course, Jesse is in charge of all the, let's put it out there. And I have had to go, yeah, that works. Let's just go with that.
I totally missed it. Like, I wish I was doing it on purpose. It would have been funnier. But nope, I completely missed it.
So we're talking about winning, not whining and not extra whining.
All right. But if you're whining yourself, that's okay. We won't tell nobody. Oh, look, Ruth threw up the blue heart. Oh, that's an invitation.
Yep, try, jump on her.
Yeah. And then we got Mr. Kirk. How you doing,
that's my buddy. And he showed up to our event this week. And I got to connect him to some people. And he's going to be in Dallas helping us with some LCI stuff. So absolutely. He's a blue heart too. I'm not sure I've seen him on before. So,
all right, blue heart attack.
Okay, what else?
And then we got Mr. Lance. What's up, Lance? He's like, yeah,
Lance, you and me both. You and me both.
You know what? I wonder if like my the attention that I give spelling is subconscious. What's the word? Revenge for all the times people put an I in Jesse. That's what it is.
There you go. It's like, I'll get you back.
I don't know. I just came up with that. Steve says, wait, there's no wine this morning. Like, everybody wants to have, you can have your wine, bro. You can have your wine. It's good. Terry, how you doing, Terry?
I got to see Terry this week too.
I know. Coming in from North Richland Hills. I got to see the pictures. It looked like a lot of fun.
I was intentional about my tribe members. I was like, I got to make sure I get all these pictures so Jesse knows that I got to hang out with all these No BS tribe members.
Yeah. Oh, look, Kirk, instruct. Okay. How do we do the blue heart,
okay, Jen? So if you're trying to do a blue heart, thank you, Kirk. If you will right click in where you comment, there's an option there to do emojis. And when you go up to emojis, you have the option to pick colored hearts and rocket ships and all kinds of fun things.
Rocket ships.
And another blue heart.
Another blue heart. Oh my goodness.
Good morning. Thank you. Jump on her. Connect.
Follow, support. All right.
Okay.
So we are going to talk about the cost of winning. You like my spelling, Jen?
I do. I appreciate it.
And this was, of course, a spinoff from the after party. And speaking of the after party, I'm running an experiment today. I've already gone and put the after party link in all of the platform distribution. So it should be at the very top because I didn't post it live, like it's sitting there. So we'll see. We'll see if that has any impact on attendance. But the last session's after party, it kind of got into space about what does winning look like and what do you sacrifice
And who defines
for winning, and what does that mean professionally, personally? Is it aligned? Is it connected? Is it not? Like, it was a really big subject. And then you and I were like, oh yeah, we got to go there.
well, the
Am I
evolution.
remembering correctly?
Yeah, the evolution of it. It was what was winning earlier in our career, and what did that look like, and what were decisions and choices we made versus maybe as we've grown and learned and evolved, what does that look like now? So that was a big, maybe some shifts.
Yeah. Oh, definitely some shifts for me. And so let's ask the tribe. Let's ask the no BS tribe out
Let's
there.
start it. Yes.
Right? How do you define winning? How do you, Jen? How do you define winning?
Okay, I'm gonna do a little background and then I'll answer the question. But
Okay.
I think I want to go with like what winning used to be for me versus what it is now. And again, the last couple of years, just my role and my intentionality and things that I've done versus before. I think winning was like, what was that next goal I needed to accomplish? What was that next thing that would give me credibility, would give me validity, would let people see me? That credibility stuff. And I think I was winning if people would acknowledge and see value in me. That was important. And so a lot of the choices and the things that I did were like, how could I make sure that I was doing that? I was continuing to do that so that people could continue to see the value I was bringing to whatever room I walked into, work, home, whatever it is, what I was providing the value that I needed to. And so that was a lot of my career. And I think in the last 2 or 3, and specifically, it has shifted to not so much, I need to walk in a room and make sure they can validate me and they can, let me feel like I have credibility, but it has shifted to how can I walk into rooms and I am now empowering and engaging and elevating the people around me. And if I see that and I'm able to feel that, then I am winning.
Okay, so you alluded to this like shift or transition. What contributed to the shift?
Jesse, first of all, okay, this was not set up, but I know where the dang question is coming from. Is as soon as Jesse and I collided and our paths crossed, it absolutely changed my conversations, the way I showed up, the things that I talked about, but also my outward focus and where I intentionally spent my time and the conversations I was having. Because of you, because of the book, because of the live streams, because of the things that we do and what we've realized is important to us and why we serve. But the more we talk about those things, like these conversations, the more that I can continue to show up in spaces not here, and people recognize that and they want to engage in those type of conversations. But also I have a huge platform to be able to shine a light on people and elevate people, and also really help people connect and help people kind of be in positions where they can impact and influence better. So
yeah I mean, so what I heard, of course you said me, but that wasn't what I was.
It was Jesse. I have to say Jesse.
Right. What I'm saying is, I think the takeaway for like the tribe members out there that may be, because I think we're going to get into some uncomfortable conversation here. But what I think is important, what I want people to anchor on, it was a shift in the community, the people you spent time with.
Yes.
Right. That showed maybe another path and reinforced the growth and progression down that path.
And it was my winning. It wasn't my decision to do things to help a bigger picture of somebody else's definition of winning. I think that was a big shift for me. Is I can define winning for me and still completely have success and do things that benefit other people. But in my mind, I get to still define what winning is.
Okay.
What about you, Jesse? What is Jesse?
Well, let me just tell you. But first, let's go to the comments.
Yes, go to the
So
comments.
Miss Krianon agrees with you, Jen. She's like, it used to be external acknowledgement, which I think that's a
Mhm,
perfect framing, right?
mhm.
And now, so she's shifted. Now it's the question is, does
Yes,
this fulfill my values?
yes, yes, yes.
Right. So I think that's an important thing. Like, what is it that I value?
Mhm,
What brings me fulfillment? For me, it's all about fulfillment.
mhm.
Steve Martin says winning is moving something from status quo to better.
I like that.
All right, that's I like
Mhm.
that. I can wrap my head around it. Um, Boy Bass, bring out your badass self says, asking, am I true to myself? Am I allowing space for others to be their true self? Right, like
Yep,
100%. Um, Man, we got some good stuff here.
of course we do.
Monique Lewis, what's up,
Good morning.
Monique? It can definitely be a moving target.
Mhm.
Okay, I think other people feel that way. Um, Megan says, "I feel like I've won if I feel proud of something I've done." Right, I
Mhm.
like that definitely. And then Lance says, "The cost of staying with the losing hand has been costly for me."
Okay, so we're going to go to sacrificing, but I want first you to answer the question. What is winning? What is winning to you?
Huh? I think we should
Uh-huh.
just keep
No,
going.
not yet. We're going to go to that next week, but you have to hit this one.
Yeah, I'll say that it's progressed over time. And actually, I was in a call with a super awesome group that I get to work with. And one of the guys asked me, he's like, "Have you always been this way? Like, crazy and relaxed and fun?" I'm like, "No, man, I used to suck. Like I was a jerk. Total. I had this much value and care for other human beings. And so winning for me, the best way to describe it where I started meant everybody else losing, right? Like I had, and it didn't matter what it was, right? Like I could be, I was in a third year of apprenticeship. I went to the National Craft Championship to compete. I smoked everybody here in the local regional stuff, but there was a sheet metal guy who did pretty damn good too. I'm not a sheet metal guy. And I was trying to figure like, okay, what would it take for me to go to that apprenticeship so I could kick his ass and destroy his scores? Does that make sense? Like
Yes.
that does it. That's dumb. Like what? Who cares?
Mhm.
And kind of like I think similar to what Lance shared. Like you hold on, I would hold on to these things that I needed to win, whether it was help. Like I had to sacrifice a lot to do that. Um, People, relationships, all of that. Anyhow, so first, winning meant me beating you. If there wasn't anybody to beat, why do it? Right? Super selfish motivation.
Mhm.
Then winning kind of morphed into visibility, status, recognition, right? Like these kind of fancy things. And then just the third point where I'm at now, similar to some of the responses we got, like I got clear on how I best serve and what provides me the most fulfillment.
Mhm.
And so now winning for me is opportunities to serve, is actually being contributing to other people's path. Now, whether that's professionally, financially, emotionally, like whatever,
Mhm.
all of it counts, provided that I'm contributing to somebody else's path. That's winning for me. What do you think?
I like that. And so I want to get a little dig a little bit into something that you and I talked about yesterday, just because I think it's an amazing, like blow my mind conversation. And I want them to hear it. So you and I were talking about like your tagline and how you define yourself. Okay. And I think it feeds into this conversation. And so sometimes when we're like trying to figure out what our purpose is, what our values are, some of the things that are being listed, we get caught up on, this one thing. And then that one thing has to define us. But you were talking about like, Jennifer, I was thinking about, changing my tagline. What do you think? And what was it that you told me you wanted to share with me?
It was selfish servant.
That's what you feel you are. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute, Jesse. Like, serving part, absolutely, I get it. But like, what is this? Like, I don't think the selfish thing is right. And you're like, whoa, let me explain it. And I want you to explain it because it goes into that winning conversation of like it can still be it can still like have something to do to make us feel good, even though it's a very outward trying to like have other people in. So I love the balance between kind of where you got how you got there.
Love it. Okay, and so I'm gonna like mix in some of the comments
Okay,
because
do
it's
it. Yeah,
relevant
yeah,
to what. So Miss Monique says, "What caused the shift for you?"
yeah.
I'm gonna address that with this response, and then Justin, Justin New Year's back.
Yeah,
What's
I haven't seen him in a while. Hello, Justin.
He says he gives two answers. In a construction project, I feel like I'm winning when I see the future and separate the problem from the person. Gangsta.
Ooh, yes.
In a classroom, I feel like I'm winning when students ask engaging questions about what we are learning can be used in real life. Now, the reason I want to, like, I get that, but it's tied to this, to my response to the selfish servant thing. Because for me, and tied to Monique's question about what caused the shift for me, what caused the shift for me was for some reason, and I think a lot of us kind of deal with this irritation, pain, frustration about having to be a certain thing in certain places.
Yes.
And like winning it at work and winning at home and winning in this venue and winning in that venue. So what that did for me was I was a social chameleon. And so I learned mostly how to repress myself, like the things that were most important to me, so that I could meet the markers of the people around me that wanted to win for them, not for me.
Mhm.
It was really unhealthy. How did I deal with it? Substance abuse. Lots and lots and lots of substances and lots of abuse. I polluted my body like crazy. Anyways, that's what kind of triggered the shifts. And what I discovered when I was in rehab the last time, one of my counselors told me, you will never become the promise you are intended to be if you continue living life the way you're living it. And so then the question became, how was I living my life? I was living my life isolated. Nobody knew me. They knew a version of what I thought they wanted. I didn't really know me. And so I had to get past that. A lot of the consumption and substance abuse was to numb myself and to like in search of some calming, stabilizing experience that always wore off when the stuff wore off. Then I discovered, well, if I invite people into my life and be more of who I am, meaning sharing the dirty details of what I've done and what I think and what I've learned and what I haven't learned and all that good stuff. That's just me. And I started understanding that through serving others, contributing to other people's lives, I got fulfillment, which meant I no longer needed these other external things, unhealthy things, self-destructive things to feel normal, which takes us to the selfish servant, right? Like I was talking to somebody and they're like, man, like you're always available. You're super helpful, da, 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 da. And I'm like, yes. And it might like I was like, wait a minute, but I'm not like this saint, right? That sits in lotus position. I'm just here to serve. Like bullshit. I'm doing this for me. Like me serving people keeps me sober. Me serving people keeps me healthy. So it's like I have to serve. And yes, I want to contribute to your path, but I also mostly do it so that I can have um, the sense of self that I have right now. And it just keeps spinning. What do you think? How did I
Jesse,
do?
me serving people keeps me sober. Like that's the quote of the day. Like, what are you talking about? Like, but I mean, when we like talk about these things together, we I guess conditioned ourselves to pick and choose. And I think one thing you said, you didn't hone in on it too much, but when you had to make the shift, and I'm going to show up as me, and I'm gonna be my real self. And because of this, the things that I'm now going to choose to do, yes, it's going to serve me. Yes, it's going to help me. But we also have to be willing, because we're going to make this shift, that it's not going to work for everybody. It's not everybody's going to be like, heck yeah, I'm on Jesse's train.
Right.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh my good, that's a big one. Absolutely. So I'm probably going to go a little off track, but
okay.
That's okay. So there's a couple of other folks that I want to recognize.
Yeah.
There's 2 points. Jim says sometimes winning is just making it through the day, right? Like
a lot of times winning is just making it through the day. Let's be clear. Yes.
And Lance says winning is same thing. It's sometimes just surviving tough situations and making it to the next round. Yeah. Hell yeah. Agreed. And then Ian, and then I'll come back and answer the question. Yeah. Mr. Ian Smith says, you may not know you're winning because even in your failures, if you fail safely, isn't that winning? Isn't it a gift to improve and have the opportunity to be better? Isn't that winning? Gangsta. Like, yes.
That's the goal of our conversation today, is who defines winning.
Yeah, girl. And so you asked me a question about like winning and what happened. Like there was things happened. So when I made the shift, it wasn't a hard shift. There was small shifts I started making along the way. When I realized that if I treated people with respect and actually valued them and contributed to their path and their careers and this sort of thing, when I learned how valuable that was and meaningful it was, I started doing it more. And I had bosses, right? Not all of them. I've had some amazing bosses, but I had some pretty cruddy ones. It straight up told me, why are you worried about them? You need to get along to go along, right? Like you're wasting your time. Why are you focusing so much energy on these people? This is what I need you to do. If you do these things, you'll accelerate and grow faster and you'll get this promotion. And what if you did this and what? And I'm like, but I don't want to do that. Like these people, this thing is important to me. So for me, what I gathered from it, and I've seen it, it's like for me multiple times in different places, because I decided that contributing to other people's path and focusing on developing the people around me, my career path slowed down.
Whoa, that's the point. That's the thing I want to dig into, Jesse, is and you and I've talked about this, is sometimes our choices, like sometimes we're on this track and we are like going to step on and climb over anybody that we need to continue to climb and get to that place. Like everybody can like at some point know that they had to do that. They made the choice to do that. And I think you and I have really been intentional on, okay, but how do we define winning and think about those things when we're being so intentional that we see it slows us down and it slows our path down. It slows what our opportunities are down because we've stopped to really focus on the people around us and lifting them up. And everybody sees the quotes and the different things, the post on, you build to be a better leader. You've got to, build the people around you up. And I mean, there's a lot of positive things out there, but in reality, when you stop and you really focus on elevating and helping the people around you to grow, it slows you down. Like in reality, it does, because you can't keep going this direction and being here in this space and being real and listening and being intentional. You can't do both.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I read it or heard it on the Stephen Covey thing, right? You can be productive with processes and tasks, but you can't with people, right? Like, because everybody kind of grows at a different rate. And that kind of takes us to our next question, right? Who defines? And so that was the real issue, right? Mm-hmm. Like I was on this trajectory, like promotions, and they wanted me to go to the Rio Grande Valley to be whatever. And all I needed to do was be a project manager. And like, I have no interest in that. Why? Because I got my people here. Like we've got some programs here that are like, woo. And so for a long time, a lot of my definition of winning was influenced by somebody else's objective.
And historical like career paths or tracks or what that's what has defined winning or defined, leaders and things like that.
And like, I'm not saying that's a horrible thing.
Oh, right.
However, I finally got to a point in my life where I had to decide I can continue, being the minion.
Mhm.
And I say minion because that's how I felt with some of these leaders.
Yes.
There were other leaders that like, tell me, bro, here's my PIN card, here's my social. What do you want? Let's go do this thing, right? But there were certain people that like what I had to sacrifice to get the win under their terms was too much for me personally, like as a human being.
What did you have to sacrifice?
I would have to sacrifice fundamentally what I would have had to have sacrificed was the things that I cared about. I started a couple of things, like it was an ESL program to help some of our Spanish speaking guys build the English skill because they had the leadership ability. They couldn't communicate with the clients who were like, man, if we can help them learn English, like they already know what the hell they're doing. Anyway, so we had that. And then I had an internship program and some other stuff. And I knew that if I left, nobody else was going to take that over. Because I was the dummy that created, and it was extra work. Right. And that was like, no, well, who's going to do these things? Don't worry about that. Let somebody else do that. I'm like, no, like, hell no. Even though eventually I did leave that behind, but on my terms, right? There was a different thing. There was another opportunity to grow. And so I would have had sacrificed things that I put heart and things that I was very proud of, things that were contributing into other people's lives. I would have sacrificed that for another 30K a year and a new title and bullshit. Like it was not, the exchange was not equitable for me. And so I didn't do it. And guess what?
What?
My promotions and everything went right, like super slowed down. He's not a player. He doesn't want to, do these things. And at that point, I came to terms with the fact, like, yep, this is just how it's going to be sometimes. And I think the really valuable thing I got out of that is early data points that help me understand that I can design my own life. I don't have to follow the traditional design that corporations, leaders within organizations, they only know one way. So they're not being ugly. It's just the only way they know. But their way is not for me. So I've got to create my own way. What do you think about that?
Well, I love that. And I think the way it hit me was kind of, we've all been in positions where we get to make choices. And I think there's been a point where I had to do some self-reflection. And I think when I got done, what I came to was I will not, going forward, I will not sacrifice me to be able to have a seat in the room. And I mean, it sounds, okay, yeah. No, like there are rooms that I am sure I am not invited in because I don't hold my tongue very well. And I very much speak what I think. And I always, and I don't get to say always very much because my kids call me out on it. So I have to be careful, but I always put people first, always people first. And I'm not running a company. I'm not having to look at bottom line. I'm not having to look at profit and, revenue and all. I'm not in my position having to base everything on those things. And I know there are people that do, but I get to put people first in everything. And because of that, sometimes it's not the most popular conversation because there are other things that are important also. And I mean, and it was for me having to make a decision, and you just talked about that. Sometimes you have to make a choice and that could impact other decisions. And I had to be okay with that myself and not hold resentment and not be mad and angry and frustrated. And I just had to go, you know what? I I'm not going to sacrifice these morals and the way and my integrity and the things that I speak to on here and other places, and then show up and be a different person somewhere else. Same to you, as you had to make that decision on, am I going to continue down this trajectory because it's what everyone else sees as what I could do versus what's in front of me and the things that are important.
Yeah. And it's a hard, I mean, I feel like I had to learn what was important to me, right? I had to start valuing myself more than whatever these other predetermined things were. Again, not to say that those things are bad, but
Right.
it's been totally, my life is freaking amazing, like way more amazing than I could ever have expected it to be, because of the weird stuff that I've done, and coming to terms with like here's a beautiful one. Like Maria said,
Yes.
whatever I say it is. Like, word, yes, girl.
Truth.
And I hope like that's kind of the seed I want to plant with folks, with the tribe out there, is like, you can define it. Like you can set the terms for what winning looks like for you. And also, based on my experience, there are some things that some truths that I've experienced by doing that.
Well, even Ian, like failure could be winning. Like Ian said that, like failure in your mind, failure could be winning because it is giving me the opportunity to improve and get better and identify things that, maybe there's gaps, or, I mean, like you can say that and it's the truth because it is your definition of winning.
100%. Oh, Carol, recommendation. All right. Thank you, Carol. She says Erik Erikson's 8 Stages of Psychosocial Development. It's that sounds fancy.
Nice.
Please don't make me title one of our live streams out. You know I won't spell it right.
Oh, we'll spell that wrong for sure.
Thank you, Carol. Awesome. Oh, look, we got Mr. Richard Ortega.
Good morning.
Denver. What's up, Richard?
Thanks. Tons of people popping in.
Oh, so we got some good comments around the question that we asked. So Mr. Josh says winning for him is just enjoying the day. Oh, I always used to get lost in the success based on what other people wanted for themselves. Nothing matters more to me than time with family. So how, like, for real, like how seductive is this definition or idea of success that other people have? I'm going to say from my perspective, super freaking seductive, because I chased it for a long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of why I want to have the conversation the way we're having it, is because I feel like some people are caught up in that. What do you think, Jen?
Well, I think, I'm not going to say everybody, but I think at any point, whether it's when, in our careers and in positions, in places we've been, like in our minds, we convince ourselves either we need to do this to advance, or someone has put out this seductive path, or they've given you an opportunity. Like those are, I think we've all had, I guess, places where we had to make a decision or make a sacrifice on, I'm going to do this because I know that this is going to happen. And I know I sacrificed family for a lot of things. And it wasn't because my family wasn't important. I mean, I follow Josh on the socials, and he elevates and makes sure family's always, at the front of the things he posts about. Families, I mean, it's never not been important to me. In fact, that some of the decisions I made was to make sure I could continue to take care of my family and give them the things that I want. And for a long time, that was why I made choices, until I realized that my time with them and the sacrifice I was making to limit that to be able to advance was hurting my family. And so, yes, I had career and I had, positions and titles and things like that. And I'd come home and it was like, but I was not there. I was not my whole self at home because of these other things. And I mean, there's nothing wrong other than a lot of people are going to resonate with that, because sometimes we make decisions for those reasons. And it was very successful. But I had to, when we started having these real conversations, I had to stop and do a lot of self-reflection and realize like, yes, this is great. And this is what people see. But if I'm not the same, and we've talked about this on this show, like been in conversations with my daughters, and they're 13 and 15 right now. And we've been doing this for over 2 years. So they were a little bit younger and we were in the middle of a conversation and I got called out. Like I got called out on, you're not the person here that you are on the live stream. You're not the person here in the way you say things and the way you show up out there. I mean, I'm grown. I have a job. I'm taking care of things, and I've got my teenage daughter calling me out, and I can do nothing but just own it. Like you talk about some self-reflection.
Yeah.
I mean, and so at that point, it's like, okay, if it's not important, it's not important. But if I'm saying it's important, I got to make it important. And I had to make some changes.
Oh man, yeah.
So,
Lance said it the other day. He's like, it don't matter what you say because they're always watching.
Yep. Always watching.
Like, what are you doing? Don't tell me. Show me.
Those kids, they don't mix words, man. And they're right now with social media being what it is. Like if I am out here talking about anything, and a lot of times it's them, and I got other examples of winning, and I'll talk about those today too. But I mean, there's nothing because all of this is out there. They have access to everything we say, Jesse.
Yep.
Like if I'm out here talking a bunch of BS, like these people on here may not call me out, but they'll call me out that fast.
Oh, I know. I've got friends that used to work with one guy in particular. He messaged me. He's like, dude, he said, you're like Stephen A. Smith. I guess he's a commentator on ESPN or something. I said, why? He said, because that fool has never played ball at all, but he talks all kinds of shit. And that's kind of what you're doing. I'm like, oh, tell me more. He's like, I worked with you and all this nice psychological safety crap. Like, you never did that with us. Truth. He's 100% right. So yeah. You gotta do it. And it takes some time to overcome the damage that we've caused and to mend the fences we may have broken in sacrificing to win.
Yes.
So there's a bunch of beautiful comments. I'm going to go to that and No BS Tribe and you, Jennifer. The question is, what have you sacrificed to win? Like, and it don't matter if it was a good win, a healthy win, or like whatever, but what have you sacrificed? Because I think there's a lot there. Like I go on both sides of the coin when it comes to sacrifice. But there's some unhealthy sacrifices that we've made for a win that was defined by somebody else. And I think those are the most depleting sacrifices. And before we go into tier mode, Monique says, and I love this, she says, I think it's a sliding scale between our life goals and giving of ourselves to others. Sometimes we're on the way to moving the needle forward in a goal when someone genuinely needs our attention. We pause the goal and go help and then pick it back up. It moves back and forth. Both are important and needed, but it's hard to find balance between the two. What do you think about that, Jen?
Yes, 100%. Because it's the wanting to serve, wanting to always be in that mode. Yes, and we could completely get pulled in that direction so far that we just lose sight of even our path. And it's not that we're not making choices for good things. Like, I mean, my role is a supportive role for every project and person in my company. And if I could like just zap myself, transport myself to every person that needs me, I would do it in a heartbeat because I want to be able to support and help them. But there's a point where I lose track of me and my path and what value I can provide if I allow myself to just only get pulled to be able to help. And logically, you're like, yeah, but you're helping people. Absolutely. But what's that balance of being able to also go, I've got to be able to have some forward motion so that I can continue to help people and continue to move things forward and not just be in a place where I'm just, for me, it was, and I'm going to hit this in a minute, it's that, when you find that place where you can say no, That for me was a big one because then I didn't want to feel less than. I didn't want to feel like somebody wasn't important. So I know you were going to do comments, but like that's what that made me think about.
Oh, yes. Oh, there's so much good stuff
Okay,
in here.
let's do it. Let's do it.
So Stephanie
Hello,
Reifman.
good morning.
And so, we've been talking a little bit about the shifts and stuff.
Mhm.
And if you're out there ready to make a shift, make a pivot in life, Stephanie is down to help people.
Nice.
Super awesome. Stephanie shares, we are taught such a bad metric of success from family or school or life. And then we need to just unlearn it. And it's often a painful lesson too. What do you think?
100%.
It's like the spelling
It's
thing.
conditioning. Gosh, so many
Curious Idealist, what's up, girl? She says, I used to feel like other people were just stupid, and I didn't want to follow what other people thought was successful out of some internal drive for rebellion. And it feels like that sometimes, like they're just idiots. Like, no, it's a different thing. Now I think it's about balance. Very well said,
very
Miss
much.
Angel.
There's a lot of good ones over there. I think you need to hit those before we move forward.
Where? Tell
Well,
me.
Nick and Yesenia, they're dropping some solid. Nick.
Okay, I see her.
Okay, yes.
Nick says, I've sadly sacrificed, my mental health to advance.
Mm-hmm.
Pushing too hard, winning at work, but losing at home.
That part right there.
How ditto. I'll just say that, folks. If you've had that experience, like do a clap or a thumbs up or something in the comments, because yes, truth. Yes. Damn, girl, she didn't play. All right, Ms. Yesenia, what's up, girl? Is she running like a marathon? Here we gotta peek over the fence here. She says, happy Saturday morning, tribe. We do it all for family, but when we stop and reflect on it, it doesn't appear that way. I lost years of tucking the kiddos in and giving them baths when they were little because I would stay working late nights for my career. I acknowledge it and have spoken with them many times. Now that they are young adults and they appreciate what I sacrificed for them, they do understand, but I do still feel bad about it. Jen?
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yes. And that's little kids. I've got kids and we wrote about it in our book. The one just where I made choices to just do things all the way up to the minute because I have control of everything and I still can be where I'm supposed to be. And we don't have control over when flights take off. We don't have control over weather. We don't have control over things that made me miss very significant things in my girls' lives. And looking back, they, like Yesenia said, we've had conversations. They understood. I saw the disappointment. I felt the disappointment. But I also look back when I made a decision to do it and then go, and nothing happened. Like nothing. And like it hurts me because like those moments where I'm like, I really need to do this. And then I showed up late to a very big thing. And the owner, the client, recognized and appreciated that I made the priority my family. Like outwardly in the middle of a meeting. And those type of things have helped me, reprioritize and be able to go, I can't do that. I can't make that. That is not going to work with my schedule. That's hard in a place where we are in a service industry. So
yes, love it. Well,
he just hit me hard like that one. I felt it in my core.
No, I think it's important. I want to stay there for a little bit. James says, yes, it was the same for me. All the hours I worked, the OT to provide for the family, the money's gone, and so is the time. Right. And what I remember, I had two flashes. One was when I was a kid. sitting on the porch, waiting for dad to get home, getting excited every time the headlights were coming down the street and it wasn't dad. And that sucked. And the only explanation I got was, well, I got to provide. And it didn't feel like, I don't give a shit. I wanted time with dad. I didn't want him to provide. I didn't care if we had cable. I wanted time with dad. Fast forward to me in different situation. Did I work my ass off? Hell yes. Am I upset? Hell yes. How much have I sacrificed? 2 divorces, a whole bunch of exes, like all kinds of stuff because of my obsession with working and winning, of what it used to be. And I used to rationalize it with, I remember one of the ex-wives, that is just like, I'm doing this for you. I'm providing, I want to give you do you like the nice thing? And I justified it in that I'm doing all of these things to provide for my family, to give them what they need. That's not what they wanted. They wanted more time with me. My parents, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my wives. I had them at separate times. I didn't do anything illegal there. What the truth was is all of that sacrifice was for me, for my ego, for my status, for the appetite or the things that I wanted. And I cloaked it and justified it by saying I was doing it for them. And it was total bullshit because it's not what they wanted. What do you think about that, Jen?
No, yes. And like I've lived this, and I realized I was just repeating it. Like I grew up with a single father raising 4 kids. That's the house I was raised in, and being the oldest of the 4 kids, like 3 younger brothers, and dad working 3 jobs, drive the bus, school teacher, drive the bus, evening job, to be able to support us. And he had to do what he had to do. 4 kids, and that was our life. And I was the oldest, so I got to kind of, play a role of, caring for my brothers and growing up with that. Like that is the role he had to play, and those are the choices he made. And then he retired from teaching January 11th, had quadruple bypass February 11th, and died March 4th. So a month and a half after he retired from teaching, he was gone. And that was 20 years ago. And like that was the choices he made. Again, they were that in his mind, that's what he needed to do to help us. But the time we lost with him, like then we thought, oh, well, he's retiring, so then we'll be able to get that time and have that time with him. And he didn't have the time. And I just think we always like, it'll happen. It'll happen when I have the money. It'll happen when when they're out of school. It'll happen when they're not in daycare anymore. Like all of these things that are like, it'll happen here. It'll happen here. Like it happens to all of us. And we always like, that's when I'm going to be able to give more time. That's when I'm going to be able to scale back my work. That's when I'm going to be able to be home at night. Like it's so easy to just, I'm going to be able to do it then. And like, we're not promised anything.
Yes. All right, so we got some good stuff here. Miss Rhiannon says, when we show up as values-driven people, appreciate it. But we're in this big noisy system telling us the money and stuff matters most. It's so hard to turn that volume down. It is. It absolutely is. And again, secret cheat code. You said it at the top of the conversation. Part of what helps me keep that noise down is the people I select to be spending time with.
Yes.
Right? Like,
yes. And the people that are in these comments are people that I've spent like time and space with and weekends with, and like and it's a different conversation.
100%. Bradley, we haven't seen Bradley in a while, but he say that all the time in the after parties. Like, man, this group is different. It is. Like we have and externally, I think people would classify us or categorize us as successful.
Yes.
We just do it different, right?
Yes.
And people like Maya, she
Good
says,
morning,
"Good morning,
Maya.
Maya. What's
Good
up,
morning.
girl?" Um, Roberts has a bomb, a banger here. He says, "Our definition of win changes as we expend our life currency and are able to look back in retrospect to find out what a real win is." I'd say all of our definition of win has changed radically as we start to understand our motive life balance. Truth,
Yes, truth.
right? Like, I mean, yeah, there's it will evolve. I think, let's see who said it.
Because there's so much. There's so much
There's
goodness.
oh, it was Josh. I'm gonna go Josh and I'll come back to Boy Bass. Josh said the most productive, selfish thing you can do is help others to feel your inner worth. The joy you get from that is above all other feelings. Agreed, 100%. And I also know there was a period of time, maybe a couple of decades, where I would have said, Josh, you're full of crap. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Right. And so, and I get that. Um, Sarah says, yes, Jesse, without an I. This is exactly the key for me. It's about understanding how you best serve, and are you in an environment that allows you to flourish?
Yes. And sometimes you have to go, like, you could be in a position and you can be in a firm and you can be in a place where you are having in your mind success, maybe your definition or someone else's. And then you have to go in search and find that community. You have to go find those people that are going to be able to help you cultivate and foster this conversation.
Yes. Oh man, there's so much. Okay. Nick says we will never be successful if we measure ourselves by other people's yardsticks. Right.
Did you
And
know
so,
you have a saying about comparison or something?
yes, there was a hug that talked about this. But here's the thing, and I kind of want to like tie it back to the
Yeah.
name of the title. Um, I can't even remember what did we call it? The cost of whining. Is def- define what winning means for you. I like at the big takeaway or summary or bullet point, key point, whatever. Have you defined what winning means for you as the individual human amazing thing in the universe? Do you even know if you're winning for somebody else or if you're winning for you? That's the question I want people to think about, because I know that when I was measuring my success and my winning, my other people's definitions, I was miserable. I like life sucked bad, 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 bad. And so, anyways, sorry, did I cut you off?
No. That was, I mean, it was good. And I know you've got so many comments. I'm going to let you look at those really quick because I want to give 2 mom wins for me. Because that's, everything for me goes back to, I've not seen the light, but I'm like trying. And so I'm intentionally trying to be more present and do a lot less talking and way more listening when it comes to a 13 and a 15-year-old. Like that's my world right now. And so for me, winning when it comes to them is when I see them making choices and I see them doing things that are not requiring me to direct them or to get onto them or to push them in certain directions. Like I see things that they've learned, they understand, and they are making those choices. And so for me, two big ones this week is one, 13-year-old had to pull her out of school because she had a doctor's appointment and she doesn't like to miss school. Let's just start with there. Neither of my kids like to miss school. So that's a win because they enjoy it. They like the social aspect, but they do well in school. So they enjoy school. Pulled her out of school for a doctor's appointment. We get done and it's about lunchtime. So in my mind, normally it's like, Mom, can we go get Chick-fil-A? Can we do, it's like, we walk out and get in the car and she's like, what time is it? And I said, it is 11:50. She's like, you got to get me back to school because my math class starts in 12:10 and we have a test today. Like, I don't know about y'all, but like my heart and everything that happened in that moment made me realize like there's something winning going on here, that my child that is out of school needed to get back to school to be able to take a math test. And like that to me, like that's winning. I can define that, and that is my winning. That's one example. The other one is I have another. My older daughter plays volleyball, club volleyball, and she had a tournament this weekend. But there was also a wedding out of town.
Yeah.
She would have really, really liked to go to, and we probably could have like said, "Hey, this is she's got to be out of town. She can't make the tournament." And she made a decision. I don't want to let my team down.
Yes.
So I'm going to go to the tournament, even though I'd really like that's mom winning moments for me that mean way more than anything else outside of this house. So
awesome. Well, and so there's a couple of comments here that I think are on that wavelength, right? Because I was pissed off at my dad because he was not available to me because he was working. And I went and repeated the same behavior.
Yes, yes, that part.
And what you're seeing, you're able to see your girls, they're changing their behavior.
Yes.
Like they're making different decisions that maybe you would have, and you're influencing that.
And I'm acknowledging it. I'm not just going, oh, that's great. Like I'm acknowledging like they're doing better. They're making better choices than I did. Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, we got some like Zen
okay,
master.
Do it.
Okay. So Mr. Gable, the uncommon communicator, when you frame the concept of winning into living in the now, it changes the perspective. Are you winning for a future prize at the sacrifice of the now? Now I am winning in all of the little moments that I can experience in the moment. Right? Like
I am. That
yes,
part.
yes. Win in the now, 100%. Yesenia. So this question, I'm gonna leave it up a little bit as we kind of round the corner to close, because I think the tribe can contribute some insight and answers or ideas. Yesenia says, there's never the right time or perfect time to choose family and mental health, but we don't realize it until we're older. Thankfully, I'm finally getting there now, but how do we teach others to get here sooner? So tribe, I think that's a phenomenal question. And everybody has a way. If you would share your advice, the way you help, or the way you got to a point of investing and prioritizing family and your mental wellness, let us know in the comments, because one thing I know for sure is there is no silver bullet, and we're all at different stages in terms of what we can or are willing to do. And so all of the advice and nuggets, solution shanking is allowed. Release the Kraken. So Jen, how would you respond to Miss Yesenia's question here?
So this answer is a pretty easy one for me, but just because we get to talk about a lot of this stuff, and I have learned that even though I had to not do this in such a straight path, it was very rocky and very discombobulated in how I got there. The more that I exhibit the behaviors I seek, the more the people around me are making better decisions. So I'm just going to leave it at that, in that when they see it, when they can see it in somebody else, even though, Yesenia, you are absolutely right. It has taken me this long to be able to be in the place that I can have these conversations and mean it and support it. But I am around a lot of other people that are just coming into their careers, just coming into this industry, and people that are moving up and becoming leaders. And when every time they're in space with me, they are exhibiting and seeing the things that I represent, I watch how it changes the way that they do things. So that's my cheat code, because that's what I've learned, that when you're doing it and you're doing it authentically and you're doing it, in real life, and you're not backing down from it, not everyone's going to want to be in that room, but the people that all of a sudden they start seeing something different, they start, asking more questions or engaging more, or, hey, if you have something else going on, hey, come share that with my team and stuff like that. You can see that people are starting to look and feel different about these things. And when they see somebody out there that's kind of a little bit out loud sharing this type of stuff, it makes it okay for them to do it.
Yeah. Yes. So my answer to this question, like, how do you help people get there sooner, is 100% demonstrate the behaviors, right? Because I know there's certain life choices that I make that have influenced other people to make similar decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of like directly helping somebody build a practice or a habit of prioritizing mental wellness, family, and other things besides work, right? And when I say work, the job, I'm talking about a job, right? Because there's my life's work and then there's a job. Those are different things most of the time. Sometimes they're the same, and that's awesome. Anyways, in terms of helping somebody get there, like, develop the skill, because it is 100% absolutely a skill, a muscle that can be developed. Prioritizing our mental health, our family, the important things is a skill that needs to be developed and can be. And it's this. First, this might sound familiar, Jen. Can dedicate 5 minutes between now and the next live stream to think about what should you prioritize. 5 minutes in the next 2 weeks. And then if you've done it, celebrate the hell out of it because you did it. And then can you spend 5 minutes 3 days out of the next 2 weeks thinking about what you want to prioritize, how to prioritize mental health? Because that action in itself is setting a priority, building some bandwidth and space in your typical default mode to spend time with yourself. And as you go doing that, increase the frequency. And once you hit, we'll just say critical mass or optimal frequency, increase the duration. That's how I help people get there.
I love that. Yep. And I love it. And it makes sense because why do most people not stick to their New Year's resolution? Because I'm like, January 1, I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to whatever. And it's so big and so daunting and so shifting of where we were that it becomes more than we can deal with and handle. And it's easy just to I can't do that. But what you've done with me and what you just said is just try to do it for 2 minutes today. And then let's talk about it tomorrow. And then, hey, let's try to do 5 minutes, 2 days a week. It can be that small, but it is prioritizing something for this amount of time. And then it's like you said, you start slowly building that skill.
Yep. Oh, okay, so
I
we
agree.
got 8 minutes.
Okay.
I want to bring this thing and then we'll turn around to close. So Justin asked, I really love this. He says, I think winning at work is defined by multiple people, bosses included. Most of us still work for companies and have bosses. Yes. I can feel like I'm winning and succeeding by my own definition, but if my bosses don't, then am I actually succeeding or is my definition wrong? And here is my answer. That's a beautiful question. And whatever you decide the answer is, it is your decision. That's the key point, that stop doing it by default. Start doing it on purpose. What is your damn decision? Angel, curious idealist, to the wedding thing. She said, It has me thinking. Would skipping the wedding be the equivalent of turning down an important life event for someone you love because we don't want to let our work team down? Is that winning?
I can absolutely see both sides of it. Right. I think for me, the winning was she made the decision. And it wasn't me pressuring her one way or the other. I think that for me was the win. It was, normally I would be like, you've made this commitment, you're going to do this. That's not important. Or we're just going to blow this off and I'm going to let you do this. That is me being the mom controlling the situation. And in this one, I did not gear her and push her one way or the other. she came to that conclusion herself. And for a 15-year-old to have to make a pretty big decision like that, that was a win for me because she defined in that moment what was most important.
Yes. And you nailed it. The decision, because there are times when I decide to deprioritize family and connection and mental wellness and my thinking time and all of this glorious stuff to go get shit done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my decision.
Yes.
That's the key point. Are you living your life by design?
Can I add to Justin's? Because I think I think there's a lot of truth to this in a lot of places. And you answered it, and I just want to add to what you said is yes, there are people in places we work that can define what winning looks like for a process, what winning looks like for a project. Like those are outcomes that have to do with the bottom line of the company making money or the company getting work. Like absolutely people in authority positions in those firms can define what a win is. I don't think that has to be what winning is for us individually.
Mm.
And I think that like we get caught up in getting so pulled into that what is a win that we lose that you know what does it mean to us? And yes, if we hit the schedule, yes, if we hit the budget, yes, if nobody gets hurt, you know, the quality is good, we don't have a lot of punch, like absolutely all those things can be measured and it was a win because of this. But I think that we get so caught up in that definition based on someone else's idea of when. It's a really quick story. Keon Zandy, he told this story in a presentation we did recently, and I think it's real. He said early in his career, he was on a job. They had a lot of stuff they had to do. They had to finish the job. He said he worked 72 days straight to get it across the finish line. And and the recognition was a lot of attaboys, and you did it, and great job, and a lot of recognition. He said, and I realized I'm not sure I'm cut out for this industry. Like I'm not sure I can work like this. He said, so the next time I started, that's how he kind of got into lean and kind of, you know, made him look at work differently. He said, then I realized there's a better way. He goes, the next job, it was, you know, didn't have to go through all that, push it across the finish line. And he didn't get recognition. So it's almost like we're programmed to like tie ourselves to like, what does winning look like? It's just crawling across the finish line, and that's how we want to. That's what winning is. Versus let's put things in place to where people can take off, people can have vacation, people can leave early, or they can come in and they can balance their time, and we still hit all the marks. Like who defines that? And it was a really cool for me. It's like he realized at that moment he had to make a decision on, am I going to lead like this or am I going to lead like this?
100%. So after party will be starting in 8 minutes, and the chief marketeer throws this out. It says, who defines winning? Those that set the rules. Who set the rules? Those willing to create the game. What's the game? Great discussion, right? Like 100%. And speaking of setting the rules, creating the game, isn't there something coming up in June?
Oh, Jesse, we're about to launch something. We are. We've been working. Well, it's kind of getting integrated into something we've already been doing. The Emotional Bungee Jumpers is a group that we've already got in place, and we've really been working on how to be more intentional, how to be a better listener, how to provide feedback, how to get clear on your problems and the things that you're dealing with. Like it's a group we already have in place. But you and I have been working in the background, and we now have another element that we are going to roll out that complements that. You want to talk about it?
Yeah. So I'll say this much. June is when we're going to kick it off. And also shout out to Ian, Lance, Tats. Bunch of people gave a lot of really, really great feedback. Lynn, Sarah, a bunch of people gave feedback. Those are the existing jumpers. And so I collected all that feedback, Maria, and kind of our interpretation of what that means. And so we're adding another layer. Emotional Bungee Jumpers, we meet once a month for 90 minutes and work on some specific skills. And this new layer is going, it's a little, maybe a little, it's not as intimidating. It's not as
Yes.
risky. It's more kind of high skill. So if you think about the first, we'll just start with that. The first quarter, the first 3 months, once we launched this, is going to be focused on facilitation for connection.
Yes.
How do we do that? How do you not do that? And let's see some real live action, like for real,
Yes.
give each other feedback and help each other improve and grow together. And the makeup is going to be every 3 months. We're going to have a different thing. The second round, Ian, this one's for you, is about storytelling, telling compelling stories that leave you unforgettable.
Yes. And then feedback.
And then feedback. And then reflection.
Reflection. Yes. So like a year's worth of like magic.
Yeah. So, folks, come on down to the after party. The links are in the thing. You can go up to the No BS Tribe page on LinkedIn. I'm hoping we had a lot of beautiful comments, a lot of great thought sharing. And so please expand on your thoughts. Tell us what your takeaways were. Share, support each other. That's the whole point of the damn after party. Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
All right. And then, so we're going to say bye, and also reminder, you got the blue hearts to go out there and follow Ruth and Rhiannon and Kirk. Thank you all for showing
else
up.
that you saw that you are not connected with.
Yes. So after party, after